Hello, everybody. Welcome. I'm your host, Pat Renwick, and it is time now for the Crestliner Catch Up with John Cox. And here's the man of the hour. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the one and only Crestliner teammate, John Cox. Hello, Johnny.
Hey, man, what's up?
What's going on, bud?
Oh, man, just loving the weather down here in Florida and getting ready to get back on the road again.
Heck yeah. I know you've been throwing baits and swinging baseball bats too. You've been.
Gosh, yeah. As soon as I got home, I didn't even know what day it was. We ended up at a softball game as soon as we got home, and then I got a call that night that I was supposed to talk at the teen angler meeting that same night, and I completely blew it. I want to apologize to all you guys. I'm gonna make the next one and talk at the next meeting.
But you're always doing something, and the fact of the matter is, let's just acknowledge this off the bat, in case anybody out there in Crestliner Mercury Land does not know. John Cox is the only 3-tour professional in the entire bass fishing galaxy. Give it up. Yes, thank you. And he's my teammate. Yes. I know him. That's pretty cool, dude. And you got 2 derbs under your belt already. 2 of them under the belt. Yeah. The first stop was right close to home. You didn't have to travel far. You just took the girls and hopped over to the St. Johns River.
I know it was. It's water that's right down the street from my house. I've fished it 1,000,000 times. And it seems to be one of my worst tournaments every year.
I mean, no disrespect, John, but historically, you don't have the best derbs in Florida all the time. I mean, you won like back in 05 and 06 or something, but
yeah, I don't even remember. But it's crazy how, knowing so much. And I think my problem is like, I can't just go into a Florida fishing tournament and just fish for them, just go out there, blind cast, catch fish. My thing is like, man, I want to catch that big stringer sight fishing. So instead of going for 18 to 20 pound bag, I'm shooting, I'm trying to hit that home run.
You're always hunting and ready to capture.
Yeah. So I'm trolling a lot. I'm looking for bedding fish. And what was crazy was this year I ran into them throughout the tournament. And I just couldn't catch them. I don't know if it was me, if I was off a little bit or, a little rusty, because with COVID, we kind of missed the whole spawn last year. Didn't really get to fish it too much. And, in the tournament. So,
right.
But I don't know. I'm super grateful for the 30, whatever place I got.
37.
37th.
Not bad, John.
Yeah. And, I caught those fish fishing in between some of those fish, or actually working a fish on a bed and having a male come in or another male or another fish swimming by or make a bad cast, and we catch those few
the scragglers and the old schlubs of the crowd.
Yeah, man. So I'm glad we didn't bomb that one. There was huge potential to bomb it. But yeah, it was still, we were fishing the river. It was great weather.
But here's the thing.
Guys crushed them.
That was the first derb ever in the first model ever Crestliner MX-21.
Yep, that's right.
First, that thing is, let's just say it is a platform.
It is, and,
amazing.
I've been learning so much about it, and even today, on the boat, I think we had 6 of us in it.
That's awesome.
We're all casting different directions. As kids are running around, and the boat doesn't even rock. Doesn't lean to one side. Oh, it is the most sturdiest boat I have ever fished in. you don't have to worry about, your guy in the back, your co-angler or your buddy or whatever. It doesn't matter him shifting sides now on you, or, you get a guy, that can't sit still and he's back there one side to the other.
Me. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't even feel it. The boat doesn't move, and it is an awesome fishing boat.
And one thing I might say about that MX too, I have never felt a gauge of aluminum that feels as beefy as that, John. Like, I think you can drive through trees with that. Crestliner and Mercury is not going to like to hear this fact right now, but you could probably drive through forests in that MX, John.
I notice it a lot just getting in rough water, and how it really does. It has that weight that actually helps cut through the waves, through that chop. And honestly, I mean, to me, it rides in the rough water. I mean, it is right there with fiberglass boat.
Really good to hear. That's really good to hear. Okay, because that's everybody's question. You know that about the MX. That's for sure. So hey, back to the St. John River and your 37th place finish. What was going on there? What were you doing? You were sight fishing, but what was the choice? Were you throwing the old wacky worm at them, and what were the in betweeners on?
Well, I really in practice I told myself, I said, don't, if you want to do really well, don't just count on sight fishing. So I tried to throw a Texas rig general around in practice, and I had some really good days. I shook off a lot of fish with it. Well, not a ton, but like I shook off somewhere. I was like, oh, those were nice ones, and that's honestly how I kind of picked up a few of my fish. I would work. What happened to me was, usually I go after the fish with lighter line, I'll see a fish on a bed and I'll try to catch them on spinning rod, whatever.
Sure. Scary stuff. You scare us all. You scare us all the time.
Yeah. The fish I kept running into were so big, and were like in lily pads and in reeds and had log. Like there was so much for them to get tangled in that I just could not get myself to use my spinning equipment.
Okay.
And I feel like it really hurt me. But I mean, even like the first day, I sat on a 10 or 12 pounder.
Wow.
The entire first day. And I could not get myself to throw the spinning rod in there on her. I couldn't do it. She was just too big, and I could never get her to eat, any size line,
Interesting.
And yeah. So
yeah, those bedders will get you. I mean, live or die by the sword. Isn't that what they say on that?
Right. And I mean, it could have went, I mean, any of the days it could have just instantly changed. Everything could have, they were just acting weird. And this year they acted really weird. And it could have just changed, and we could have blasted them and caught, 30 pounds multiple days. But it just didn't. Everything had fallen into place,
Yeah, and it was, again, weird weather period that was going on in Florida that time. I know that you were running your heat for the first time in neons over there and building fires.
Right. Yeah.
But hey, but again, man, seriously, 37th place, not bad. And you got to break in the MX. You got to learn a little bit about your new vessel, your new water sled.
Yeah. And I did. I actually went to Rodman a couple of the days.
Oh, okay,
which is really full of standing timber.
Yeah,
yeah. There's the one boat lane down the middle with channel markers. Everywhere else, there's no channel. And a lot of guys were having to idle and stuff. And I was able to take. I think I got a 10 or 12 inch Atlas jack plate on.
You got the 10. Yeah, you got that.
Got the 10. That's right. And I took the plate. I could take the plate all the way up, and I could stay on plane. And I wouldn't go fast. I would just take it easy. But I was able to run back behind a lot of that stuff.
Awesome.
And all week. I mean, every time I went out there, I never hit anything. Wow. And I think it's just the way that boat rides when you take that plate all the ways up and it lays flat, that there's not really much of anything in the water. And I had a few of the guys try to follow me because they're like, oh, he knows where he's going.
Oh, but it wasn't the case, was it?
Yeah, boy, they made it about 100 yards. And it just, yeah.
Well, think about it. Think about it. That's the same theory that Crestliner, or the same principle Crestliner has with the smaller boats like the XF, like I run. But they've now taken it to that 21-foot extra wide barge right now. So, hey, how's it feel to run a 250 on aluminum
you got to
sled?
think I haven't had a 250. We're going back 10 or 11 years. I haven't had a 250 in 10 or 11 years. Man. Biggest I've had is the 200, and man, it's a lot of power.
And that Pro XS, dude. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Bro.
It's a lot of power. And that's what's really cool about the MX too, is when, a lot of times when you're in a fiberglass boat or any other boat that you see out there, when you trim it underneath and you floor it, the bottom drops, the nose lifts, then it planes out and it goes. The MX, you trim it down, when you gas it, it's like instantly on plane.
It's like a jet ski.
Yeah, just instantly. There's no dip, nothing. I mean, you can take the plate up halfway and just jab it, and it's just like instantly on plane. And man, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, when you're making a lot of stops throughout the day and you're stopping and going, eliminating that time of gassing it and getting it up and then coming down. You take that completely out and you're just, I mean, it just, it's amazing.
So, and the way you describe it is perfect. But may I say that if you haven't actually experienced it, there's nothing like it. There's nothing like being in that aluminum water sled and getting up on pad instantly and knowing that you're cruising. One more thing I want to add before we move on to how amazing is the sound of that 250 Pro XS when you first. Some of my favorite sounds in bass fishing.
I know. I'll be like back in the canal, early in the morning or something, and I'll be back there fishing. And boy, when I start it up, it's like everybody comes out of their house.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Like, what is that?
That's beautiful.
Yeah,
but it's so quiet when you're running. That's the sweet part.
That initial startup.
Hey, let's move on. And you missed a tournament. For the Tackle Warehouse, the MLF Big Five. You missed the Tackle Warehouse tour circuit at Okeechobee because it conflicted with their, I guess. I mean, they overlapped. Let's say
they overlapped.
Yeah, they overlapped. So you chose that. Why? What was the decision?
Well, I honestly was almost getting ready to drive down to Okeechobee. I checked with them because we had a fog delay one of the days. Okay. And they were talking about canceling the tournament, and I was about ready to load up, race down there, and get a couple hours in, and to get some points. And and we ended up going. We ended up we had bass. We had fished a half a day or whatever. But I mean, the reason I picked the first elite one was I don't know. I was really I really felt good about this is going to be our time on the St. John's. Like this is going to be a really good chance to do really well. And man, I don't know. And I was just looking at the schedule, like what I'm going to have to miss a couple more. And I was thinking, I think it's going to be really important to get those points at Bass that one tournament. And then we're going to leave here in a couple days and we're gonna go to the pro circuit one, and hopefully make up some ground, get some points in that one, and just go from there.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, it's a business, man. I mean, you're thinking at things. You're not thinking like a normal derb fisherman because this is your business. You need to make money. You need to cash a check at every tournament you fish to be successful.
Right. 100%.
Plain and simple.
Yeah.
With that being said, you moved on to an amazing finish, third place at the Tennessee River. Congratulations on a third place, teaming.
Hey.
Way to go, Johnny. Hey. Second derb in the MX, getting a little more intimate with your new office.
Yeah, man. I'm telling you, and that tournament practice was so tough. I mean, I had 6 bites all 3 days of practice. So I had no idea where I was going to go. Didn't know, I wasn't clued in on anything. It was on all different baits. And I was pretty much looking for a place that I could kind of settle in and be okay with zeroing. I mean, that's honestly what I was looking for. I was like, I just want to be somewhere I feel comfortable. I feel like I might have a chance to catch something. And man, I started close and I was bouncing and wasn't doing any good. And 11 o'clock, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go try Glenn Browne's spot where he won 10 or 11 years ago. It looked awesome back there. Didn't have any bites. I was like, I'm just going to go in there and, just spend the rest of the day. And I honestly thought I was going to cut. I told my cameraman, I said, man, we don't get bit. We're going to cut my hair off while we're out there. We're going to do something because we were on live and I felt awful. I'm like, man, here midday, we haven't had a bite yet. And, man, it was really weird. I went under the first bridge and, I really thought, Glenn's not with us anymore. And I was really just kind of, I was just kind of thinking, I was like, man, it's so crazy that, he was just in here 10 years ago, wins the tournament. Now he's gone. And man, I might've been my second or third cast I started catching him. And,
dude, it was magic.
Yeah. Then it just, the magic just started happening. I was like, oh man. And I kind of kept that area to myself and everyone, man, Jay Ellis, he was super nice. He came in. And he was like, man, you just do your thing back there. He's like, I'll go back out here. And I was like, thanks, man. And a bunch of the other guys that, came in and saw me back there, they were cool. And they were like, hey, you just do your thing back there. And, it was neat. It was a super special tournament. I'll never forget it. it'll be that time, I remember Gussie really put the whooping on us, which was so cool, so I'm so glad he got that win. And
dude, Gussie was that was a phenomenal win for our Mercury teammate, no doubt, man. I mean, let's just bring it up. Well, let's bring it to the forefront. We got to talk about it, plain and simple. I don't know if I have ever seen a professional tournament where 3 of the top 10 competitors were all running aluminum boats.
Right.
And that's a pretty big deal. Yeah,
it was. And it's crazy. There's everybody's starting to see that, you can do it in an aluminum boat, and there are a lot of benefits to being an aluminum boat. So, guys are starting to catch on, and I think we're just going to keep seeing more and more of us in them.
Man, is it a reflection of that there's more people fishing, that we're seeing more and more people in aluminum boats? Not necessarily the professionals, obviously, but I don't know. It kind of, correct me if I'm wrong, with the advent of the pandemic and the rekindling of family bonds and the rekindling of more time in the outdoors, it has certainly contributed to increased fishing. And it's a great thing. Do you think that the natural progression is to aluminum boats because they're such a natural fit for anglers? I don't know how else to put it. What's your opinion?
I do. I'm seeing a lot of them. Just like we just pulled out just 30 minutes before we jumped on here, and that boat ramp was packed. It was usually there's 1 or 2 guys there, and it was packed. Everybody's fishing. I think it kind of also goes back to a lot of these people that fished before, that everybody kind of starts in like a john boat, a small john boat, canoe, whatever it is. And, I think it's just easy for a lot of those guys to be like, hey, this is just like a bigger, really nice john boat, and they really, and they can relate to it, and that's something that's something I fell in love with, was how it just reminds me of growing up as a kid fishing, there's just something about it. Them guys them guys have had aluminum boats for, their whole life. They know what I'm talking about. There's just something,
it's special. It's a very, I don't mean to sound weird, but it's an intimate feeling that you get with the aluminum boats. Now, I don't know how else to put this, but I feel like I can do more in aluminum boat because I'm not as afraid of messing things up. Does that make sense to you, John?
Yeah, it's true. If you have, I feel like the repairs are a lot easier. And it's like, if you scratch it, it's a really awful sound when you scratch that gel coat on your fiberglass. You scrape it. It's just it's just an awful feeling.
Yeah, but I think that the aluminum boat is more forgiving.
I think so too. I've gotten small when I had a fiberglass boat. I got small, like where it broke through the clear coat, and over time, water beating on that ends up getting in there. It really softens the bottom up
into that mesh.
Aluminum, you'll never, if anything, it might dent it. It normally never will actually puncture it.
And then what I say? That'll buff out.
Yeah, that'll buff out.
Hey, I want to go back to Glenn's spot in to the derb there. Was that feeling you were getting when you were fishing in there, that sentimental feeling? Did it make you feel just at ease and comfortable? And
man, I'll have to. I'm getting chills thinking about it, but it was amazing. I felt like I caught my first bass ever when I was in there.
Really?
Like I would catch one, and it would be a 14.5 incher. And I was shaking, and I kept telling my cameraman the first day I had 9 pounds. I catch 9 pounds the first day. You would have thought I caught 30 pounds. Every fish, I was shaking. I was having trouble retying, and I'm like, wow, this is incredible. And it just stayed like the whole week. And it was so cool. There was, there's people coming down. I mean, pouring rain, 42 degrees, and there's people down there all along the banks watching and cheering me on, and cars going by, and they're yelling. They're like, "We love Cox!" And
That's outstanding. Oh my goodness!
I mean, it was amazing. There was one car wreck. I mean, luckily, hopefully, those people were okay.
Yes,
but I mean, it was man, it was a super special week.
Yeah, man, and really cool that you caught him there in that spot. And here's something else that's pretty neat about the whole deal. You're throwing a pretty special bait right now, and you're throwing the Fritz side, and
right.
I'm a plugger. I've thrown plugs my whole life, and I'm no professional angler, but I've caught plenty of fish on plugs, and that's a special plug, that Fritz side, and you pretty much just went to work. You had 2 rods on the MX-21, on the deck of the MX-21. John, you look very petite, by the way, on the deck of that MX-21 with just 2 rods. When I had
that is one huge plus of running the MX-21.
When you go shopping now, you go to the petite aisle.
No, I haven't been in the gym in my downtime. But yeah, that bait. So the whole reason I kind of stuck with it was because the water temp was I think the water temp was 48, 49 degrees. And me personally, I've never caught them. I think the one time the water temp got 56 degrees at Hartwell, I zeroed that day, and I was doing so well before that. But when it gets in that lower temp, I just couldn't figure out. I couldn't even in my head think of what I should throw.
Okay.
And I was thinking, I've caught them, on that Fritz side with the water pretty cold. And man, when I got the first bite with it, I was like, I'm just going to stick with this thing. I really slowed down with it. I feel like I had so much time casting at this tournament and learned so much with it. And it was just, it was crazy. I didn't realize how slow you could reel that. And the fish it was almost like you wouldn't even feel them take it. You would just be slow reeling, and all of a sudden your line would be going off, and you'd be like, oh, and you pull it tight. And it's an incredible bait. I mean, it's probably why you can't get any until May right now.
It's insane.
Yeah.
And I had David Fritz on the Stray Cast show just this past week, and he gave up some secrets about the Fritz side. But may I tell you, John, you may already know this. I'm sure you do, that the real gem of the line, according to the man that created the baits, is the biggin.
Oh yeah,
the Fritz side biggin.
Yeah, the big. So I was fishing for 14 and a half inches. So I stayed with the meat. I stayed with the number 5.
The number 5.
And then I threw the junior some too, because I was getting low on the original, and I was like, man, I don't these are going to be hard to get.
The junior throws good too.
Yeah, throws good too. But man, that biggin's going to come into play one of these days.
Oh yeah, bud. Yeah. What were you? Last thing about that, were you throwing it on the 12, John? 12-pound, 10-pound?
Yeah, I was kind of mixing up. I had one reel with 15. I had one with 12. Berkeley 100 set fluorocarbon, and I don't know if it mattered as much. I think it was more the reel ratio.
Okay.
Throwing on that slow 5 4-to-1 EXD Revo. That one, it seemed like it never got hung up.
Okay.
I could slow creep it through. I was pulling it through pieces of wood, bouncing off rocks. It made that bait swim so well.
You know what Rick Clunn calls that, John?
Rick
Clunn calls it worming a crank.
Worming a crank. That was exactly what I was doing.
He was You could go up to Clunn next time in the parking lot and say, yeah, Rick, I was worming a crank over there at the Tennessee River. He'll just look at you funny, Oh, man. So, hey, you know how when we get a new boat, that every time we go out, there's something new that we discover about it.
Right.
Like, whether you get a new boat every year, or whether you get a new boat every 10 years or every 5 years, every time you go out in that boat, you kind of discover something about it. So in your second tournament of the year at the Tennessee River there, what was something new that you discovered about the MX?
I mean, that I spent most of the time casting. I didn't run much. I had the trolling motor down, and I was just fishing. And what was crazy was an area back in the creek I was fishing. I could see I was stirring up mud, but I didn't realize how shallow it was. I know the depth finder wouldn't read, and it was kicking up mud pretty good. I'd have to shut my aerators off to put them on recirculate. But the third day it cleared up and I could see my trolling motor marks and where I actually caught some fish. And I'm like, that boat was floating in like shin deep, no problem.
Really?
Like, oh gosh, it blew my mind how shallow. Like I mean, because I got the trolling motor all the way up. It's almost out of the water. It's turning mud. You know, I'm catching fish out of this stuff, and the boat itself was never dragging. You know, and so I really realized that week, you know, how shallow it would still go, and also how sturdy it was. I mean, it had camera guys all 3 days or 3 of the 4 days. And I mean, they're running around, they're trying to get the shots. And I never even felt them back there.
You could put them all in there. You could just, you could tell every tournament organization, you go ahead, bring all the camera team with me. Plenty of room in my MX. It's like a party. We're renting out for family reunions afterwards and picnics and circuses and birthdays when COVID's over. Everything.
Yeah. If you're a guide, this is the boat. Like, I mean, I think when, you know, some of the guides will realize, they'll be like, man, I mean, you know, a lot of times guides don't want to take more than 3 people just because of all the, you know, getting hung up and just the space and like all the,
sure.
I mean, this thing, you know,
pulling hooks out of people, all that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, this is like, you know, you can throw 4 people in there and fish, no problem.
Hey, so again, congratulations on the 3rd place finish.
Thanks.
2 derbs under your belt. Catch up with John Cox on tour, and now you're moving to the next event. Is you're going to a Tackle Warehouse tour event now, right? Smith Lake.
Yep.
Smith Lake.
Yep. It's going back to Smith Lake.
Okay.
I'm excited. I think we got second the last 3 times we went there.
Oh.
And then the time before that, we almost died. But
we won't talk about that one in this episode.
We won't talk about that. but yeah, so I'm excited. I mean, you know, weather looks good.
That's next week?
Yep, it's next week. And I'm going to fish that one. And then as soon as it's over, I'll go straight to the Bass Elite on Lake Pickwick.
Pickwick.
Never been to Pickwick that early in March. I went there once in May and loved it. I think it's going to really show out, you know, going there in March. So I'm excited to see, you know.
I'll be down there too, John. I'll see you down there.
Oh, nice.
At the Pickwick,
nice.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I'll be hanging out over there in Pickwick.
Oh, nice.
I'll be Pickwicking.
Oh, cool. Yeah. That's cool.
So, I mean, dude, so you're at Smith, then Pickwick, and then there's a little downtime or no?
No, I actually have to leave Pickwick. If I somehow make the finals at Pickwick, I have to leave that night or that day after weigh-in and race to Rayburn for the Bass Pro Tour.
Gotcha.
And I'm going to miss practice, and I got Group B. We already got what group we're in.
Okay.
So I'm in Group B, so I go the second day, luckily.
Wow,
and,
worked out well, thank you.
Yeah, it worked out very well. So that's great. So, yeah, I'm going to race over and jump into that at Rayburn. You know, I won't get any practice, but, you know, we got really fortunate last time we were there. I think I'm going to go run right to that spot where I caught him last time and see if there's any there.
What else you got? What else you got? Just get the MX rolling and get over there.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Hey, John, I think before we get out of here, let's do a little rapid fire type game. Okay, yeah, I see that your drink. What do you call that energy drink you got there?
This is a Celsius.
Celsius. Hi, I'm John Cox for Celsius energy drink. Andy, you got any good old fashioned game show music? Yes, it's time for Crestliner Mercury's Victories, Baits, and Boats. With John Cox, professional angler, only 3-tour derb angler on the planet. 3-tour professional derb angler, John Cox. Hi, John.
Hey, Pat.
Hey, how you doing? I'm your host, Pat Renwick. Nice to meet you. So, John, I'm going to go over some John Cox victories. This is rapid fire, real quick. Okay? And you tell me the bait and the boat for the victories.
Okay.
You ready? Tackle Warehouse Tour Rayburn victory.
That would be a 1850 Bass Hawk Berkeley, Fritz Side, number 5, Ghost Morning Dawn.
Red River Tackle Warehouse Tour.
Red River would have been that must have been the CX17 Crestliner with a 75 Mercury on it, and that was the main bait was a chatterbait and a jig. Some kind of jig with a trip. Oh my gosh, I can't even remember. Is it really been that long? Oh,
you see what I'm doing to you here? You see what I'm doing to you?
Oh my god, I can't even remember what I caught him on.
Some jig.
I caught him on some jig. I don't even.
Something on the back of it.
Something on it.
Hartwell. Hartwell.
Hartwell was a general, 5-inch general, and then the chatterbait on the final day.
Chatterbait.
And I was in the PT20.
In the PT20. Okay.
Yep.
Tackle Warehouse Tour Lake Wheeler. Forest Wood Cup.
All right, Forest Wood Cup. That was in the brand new PT20.
First year.
First year using it, and I caught them on a hollow belly frog.
Hollow belly frog. The old notorious up in that creek.
Oh gosh, that was, I think back on that, and that's like one of those ones where you just want to be pinched. Like, this cannot be happening. I mean, it was incredible. It was like I would just keep throwing it down this canal and just kept catching them.
It's every bass fisherman's dream, quite frankly.
Oh, without a doubt. Even to have a fun fishing day like that. It's like
duckweed and frogs. I mean, just duckweed amongst the bank of a canal, and
it was like a 200-yard stretch, and it just like every day it kept putting out. It blew my mind.
All right, here's the big one, John. You ready?
All right.
The 3 Chickamongas. Chickamauga. You had 1 on the Tackle Warehouse Tour and 2 Bass Nation Opens. Baits.
Okay.
3 baits, 3 boats.
It had to be PT20 for all of them.
All
I
of
think,
them.
Right?
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, PT20.
Let me check with me. Yeah, it was a PT20, John.
PT20 for all of them. And then it was Maxcent General. And Maxcent General and Maxcent General.
That's the best. And there are John Cox's 9 victories. 9 victories.
That's crazy.
Wow. All out of Crestliner boats. How do you like those yapkas? Right there.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? That's crazy.
Nuts, man. Well, John, it's been another amazing Crestliner Mercury Catch Up with John Cox on Tour show. And, may we say before we go, best of luck to our teammate, Keith Carson. He's getting ready to fish the NPFL on, Eufaula?
Yep, Eufaula next week.
Coming up.
I don't know if you guys saw, so he's got my PT20, and he painted it black.
Yeah, he Sharpied. It was a Sharpie.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's
and
his.
He wrote his name in white paint.
I saw. It was what we call sassy on the Stray Cast show. Very sassy. John, we wish you the best of luck. All of us here at Stray Cast, all of the Bass Galaxy, and of course, everyone at Team Crestliner and Mercury. Everybody give it up for John Cox, the only 3-tour derb professional angler on the planet. He's my teammate on Crestliner. I know him. Hey, John, we'll see you next time on Crestliner Catch Up.
Thanks, Pat. Thanks for having me on. Hopefully, maybe we'll do this after a couple tournaments.
Again, the next couple tournaments we'll catch up. And a special thanks to our producer, Andrew Ellenberger, the Ginger Ninja, for putting this thing together. Special thanks to Joe Woodward over at Crestliner. I'm Pat Renwick, John Cox. Peace, Bass Galaxy. Peace, Crestliner and Mercury Nation. We're out of here.